This is Townsend Yard, the last semi-rural footpath off Highgate High Street. It leads to Omved Gardens, which occupies the last drovers' grazing ground in London. The yard retains something at present of its historic rural character, but not for long if the developers are allowed to have their way. A few metres down the yard from the High Street stands this handsome 17th century building, known locally as the Shepherd's Cottage. It's the only remaining 17th century backlands cottage on the Highgate Bowl. It's all rear facing and it's still on its original footprint, a rare historic survivor constructed of red and yellow brick with a distinctive and characteristic gambrel roof. It consists basically of 4 rectangular rooms stacked one above the other. It's remarkably intact and original. It's one of the oldest houses in Highgate and the only one which hasn't been significantly altered or modernised, apart from some useful plumbing and the introduction of electricity. The front door is reached via a door on the High Street between 2 estate agents, and then down this covered timber-framed historic passageway to its own front door, which opens directly onto the living room. It's quite dark in here because the house is north-facing, but it's likely to get a lot darker if the very adjacent 2-storey development is allowed to be built. Upstairs is the book room, and above that the bedroom. Both are reached by this tiny staircase, one of the few changes made, probably in the 18th century. This is the only really good view of the cottage, the only one where one gets a sense of the antiquity and charm of this important and charismatic building. But for how long will we be able to enjoy it and show it with pride for generations to come? Developers have obtained planning permission for a terraced row of 7 2- and 3-storey houses to be built from here to here. If that decision is allowed to stand, this view of the cottage will be lost forever. Indeed, effectively, the cottage will disappear from the Highgate landscape. The back wall of the first house to be built will come to this point, cutting out not just the view, but daylight from the cottage. It will be less than 1.5 metres from this ancient back wall, all privacy gone, and plunge the basement kitchen, once a byre, into darkness. At 2 stories, it will block out the sky from the ground floor and, with large areas of glazing, will remove all sense of seclusion. Where is the right not to be overlooked, or the principle of ancient lights? The effect of the building of this row of new houses in this location, were it to be allowed to happen, will be to destroy one of the great Highgate assets, to be able to step off the High Street and enjoy a moment of semi-rural calm. It's a great surviving fragment of our architectural vernacular and agricultural past. We need to protect these elements. They make Highgate a special place. We shouldn't let it be lost.